Sometimes you really do have to trust the universe. It's crazy how things can work out. I hope to make another video a year or two down the line being like, yay, either that or I'm going to be in a tent begging for sandwiches and a hot cocoa. So hey guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. As you can see by the title today, I'm going to be doing a video on how COVID has affected my business. Now, I did not think I would be doing a video like this, but here we are. Thanks, COVID. So basically, as you can see, COVID-19, it isn't even clickbait. It has literally destroyed my business. I have officially fully closed my physiotherapy business, and I'm basically going to give you a little bit of a background into what my business was and what happened and how things are now basically, and what my plans are to a certain degree. And I also want to make clear as well, I didn't close my business in fear of COVID because of the lockdown. I didn't close my business because lockdown told people to close their business. I'm the type of person that if I have certain beliefs, I will fight for my rights. There was a couple of reasons why I shut down my business, which I hopefully will make a little bit more sense, because I'm actually pretty sure that a lot of physios were still open during lockdown anyway. I'm not sure if we even had to close. I don't know, because as I said, it doesn't matter to me now anyway, but I think a lot were still open anyway. So yeah, but I'm just going to make it, basically explain it a little bit better, so hopefully it makes a little bit more sense as to why I've done what I've done basically. But it wasn't due to the fact that I was scared of opening because of lockdown or anything like that. It's just the way the business model was and the impact of everything overall and how I felt. So basically, I started a physiotherapy business about 3 years ago. Prior to this, I had my first ever job. I was actually self-employed in another clinic in Essex. And I basically learned how to run a business there, how to get clients. And that was really, really useful for me. They taught me a lot, I'm not going to lie. I did about a year and a half there, and then I got a little bit like, wasn't so happy for a few reasons and decided to leave. And I remember just saying like, oh, I want to move to London, because at the time I was doing music. That's coming in another video. So at the time I was like, I want to move to London, I want to get another job. And I remember someone saying to me, well, go on then. I was just like, oh, okay. Literally 2 weeks later, I had a job in a flat. Insane. This is how sometimes I know certain things are meant to be, or the universe lines certain things up. So basically, I ended up in London at this job, worked there for 2 years. It was an absolute shag. It was, I don't even know what word to use. It was a nightmare. Basically, my boss was just an arse. Like, he was a bit, I would say, stuck up and arrogant. I'm sure he has some good sides to him, but it was just like they were doing a lot of dodgy things at the company. They were doing a lot of illegal things. They were doing just like putting my license at risk because I work for them. Just doing really dodgy things, ripping people off, just stuff that I didn't agree with. They did not treat their staff very nicely. The way he spoke to his staff, I've never seen anything like it. There was like, he got sued. Like, it was just messy. Like, it was just messy. And I was like, I need to get the hell out of here. I was, very lucky that since the age of 16, I always said I'm going to have my own business. I've known that from a very young age. I was always a boss bitch. I was like, I'm having my own business. I'm not working for nobody. I don't like answering to people. I'm having my own business. Typical Scorpio. So this was always an ambition of mine. And yeah, basically I just wanted to make a success and do something that I could actually give back and help people as well, because that's something that is super important to me. I generally feel like my purpose in life was to be in the healthcare industry, and I've always been led towards that way since a young age. And I do really, really want to give back, and to be able to have something, and many jobs give back in loads of different ways, not just healthcare jobs, but just to have something like that where I could impact people's lives and help people was something that really meant a lot to me. And I really, really enjoyed learning about biology, and I find the human body fascinating. I find humans fascinating. I'm a proper people watcher, and I analyze everything. So yeah, so basically I was at this job for a few years, and I did want to start my own business, but I kind of was like, yeah, I'm going to start my own business, was kind of talking about it, had a few plans, had a little business plan, but I didn't have like a date when I was going to do it. I might have left it another 6 months, year. I love the way the universe pushes you into certain things. And I remember one day having a phone call, I think it was with my uncle and my dad, and I remember saying like, oh, they're doing dodgy things here, like I'm a little bit worried about my license, like they're doing this, that. They were like, get the hell out of there. Let's not muck around, hand in your notice tomorrow, like get the hell out of there. It is not worth risking your career. And I was like, oh. I feel like, although I'm going to do things, the universe just literally, you know, when you're like about to dive over the edge into something, you're a little bit like, the universe always just fucking pushes me off, always. So I was like, okay then. And I was like, well, basically I want to start my own business. So I was like, well, let's do that then. So I was like, cool. I just felt like I needed someone to validate what I was doing before I made the decision, even though really you don't need that. But at the time, you know, I was first time ever starting my own business. I just moved to London like a couple of years ago. I was like, shit, is this the right thing to do? So basically I started my own physiotherapy business. I rented a floor on the top floor of a GP surgery in Southeast London. All I would say is fucking pricey. Oh my God, to rent in London, it is so pricey. I felt like I'd get mugged off every month, but it was really pricey. But yeah, I had a little bit of money, put it into it, took a little bit of a loan to start the business, and basically went for it really. I was nervous but excited, but I'm the type of person that wouldn't let fear stop me from doing something, and I do believe in life that you do have to take risks to do well. And they always say it's not the people that are the most academic or with the highest IQ that do well in business, it's the people that actually take the risks and that will make certain decisions, which is often usually people with the lower IQ results, which is funny. Overthinking is a bitch. So basically I started my business. So my business model was I was going to obviously advertise for private patients, and I also signed up for insurance companies. So I did work with like whiplash companies, car accidents, you know, whip cash. So I did, like, if you had medical insurance at your work, you would get referred to a clinic like mine. And I also did like private medical insurance and obviously just private pay. Basically, when I first started, I did everything. I was the physio, receptionist, admin, accountant. Actually, that's a lie, but an accountant. I was definitely not the accountant. Let's not exaggerate, Jade. The telephone person, I did everything, basically. I run the whole business by myself. Never run a business before, had a little bit of knowledge. Extremely lucky to have my uncle and my dad advise me to certain degrees, because they have been in businesses quite high up. And I was really, really lucky that, I mean, a lot of it I felt like I could do myself because a lot of it was physio related and only I knew kind of that stuff. And I was very lucky to have a job that taught me those skills in the first place. But I was very lucky also to have a little bit of advice on things I didn't understand. So some people don't have that and have to kind of make those mistakes as well. So I was extremely grateful to have that. But I also made mistakes. We all do. And I felt like when I first opened my business, I got busier a lot quicker than what I imagined. And the insurance was just flowing through. And I was like, Jesus, like, I got busy quite quick. And I think it made me slack a little bit on private marketing, which looking back was not great, because the problem is with insurance companies have a 60-day clause to pay your invoice. Part of the reason why I have a problem when it comes to COVID. So yeah, so there was that. But basically I'd done really well, but it built it up to a certain point where I was just working stupid hours. I was doing like 15-hour days, 18 patients a day, sometimes doing home visits, coming home 2 hours worth of paperwork still for all the reports and notes. Like, it was just too much. I was booking everyone in. Like, I got to a point where I just stopped enjoying it to a certain degree. Like, I just felt like I'd lost the passion for it. It was just hard, man. I would say there were some stages where I felt depressed. I would cry. I just was in low moods a lot. And like, I got really bad anxiety about it as well. Like, I don't know if anyone else can relate, but some mornings before work, I would wake up in the morning and literally I'd wake up before my alarm and just immediately feel anxious about the thought of going into work or the thought of my day. And a lot of the time I would physically vomit in the mornings as well. And it's another reason why when I was trying to gain weight and stuff, like, I've never been able to get to my goal, because that would always stop me, because I would always feel like that and feel sick, and then I wouldn't really eat. And it was just, yeah, I was just like, I was okay once I got there and got into the swing of things, but it's just like, this isn't right. You shouldn't feel like this. And I've always said to people, like, it doesn't matter, well, as long as obviously you're not going to be homeless, but it doesn't matter about how good the money is you're earning. If you're not happy, you need to make changes. And looking back, I'm like, I probably should have made changes earlier than what I did. And I would always say to people, do what's best for you and follow your instincts, because life is short. And if you are in a job for 10-20 years, I couldn't have even imagined how depressed I would have been if I'd have done that for another 10-20 years. Don't do it to yourself. Like, I wish that I'd have made changes sooner. And you don't always have to make drastic changes. I didn't have a choice because of COVID. If this was, you know, a non-COVID situation, I would have made sure my other business was built up a bit before I left my current business, so I had something to lie back on. But don't wait today to start something on the side. Even if it means having to be that bit more tired for a period of time, trust me, it will be worth it. Don't wait to start something else. Don't make excuses like, oh, I just never have enough time. You have to make the time, or you're going to be stuck in that same situation for another 5 years. You know, it can be done. It's difficult, but it can be done. That's why I said to people, it's not worth feeling like that. It's not worth your mental health, because what is money or even anything if your mental health is not there? It really doesn't mean anything. And I just got to a point where I was just like, I would pray a lot and be like, I just want something to change. Some days I just literally want to walk out, but I never would. But there was a lot of times where I'd cancel on people because I didn't feel good and stuff like that. And it's just not good for the business. And I do believe that, yes, you're not always going to be happy when you start a business. I definitely believe in making sacrifices. For those past 3 years, I swear to God, that business has taken my blood, sweat and tears. I didn't see family and friends for ages. I didn't go on holidays. I didn't socialize. I sacrificed so much to run that business and to make that business successful. And I do believe you have to do that if you want a certain level of success. And I don't have a problem with that at all. It's the fact that it still has to be something you're passionate about. A lot of people will say like they work a lot, but they enjoy it. And I do think to a certain degree you do have to. Yes, at the start you have to do things you don't want to do. And to be honest with you, when it first started, I didn't mind. I didn't even mind, because I thought, right, as soon as I get to a certain position, I'm going to be running the company. That was always my goal. My goal was always to run the company and have other physios do the hands-on work, and I just basically are there to run it. That was the goal. That's what kept me going. If it was just me doing that job forever, I wouldn't have done it. But that's why I stuck at it, because I thought, it's not the role I'm going to be in forever. But then COVID come along and fuck shit up. But basically I got really, really busy, and I decided, right, now's the time to take on my first employee. I'm going to get another room, and then I'm going to go up, build that one, and do the same thing, put somebody else in there till I can get a building, and then I don't have to do any hands-on work at all. So found a really lovely employee. Took me a good few months, found one. She was supposed to start mid-April. I took on another new room in a different area. Again, very pricey rent, was a nice area, but I wanted to choose an affluent area for, obviously for my business. And yeah, it was going really well. Again, building up a lot quicker than what I thought. Signed up with insurance companies, already had quite a few patients in the new clinic. I was basically running 2 clinics at the same time. I swear to God, it was a madness before COVID. I was running 2 clinics at the same time, and they were like 45 minutes apart. It was fucking mad, whilst doing the phones, doing everything else. Like, I was exhausted, and I was like, I've just got to keep going. And basically that happened about 6 weeks before COVID hit. About 6-7 weeks before COVID hit is when I expanded, and everything was going well. I hadn't even really marketed privately yet, because I was waiting for my employee to start to then spend money marketing, because I didn't want it to get any busier, because I was still running both clinics. So basically, literally signed the contract with the employee. COVID-19 hit, lockdown. I cried for about the first week thinking, oh my God, what am I going to do in my business? I was so lucky that my employee was lovely, and she actually decided to defer her contract, so she was happy to start in June. Oh my God, I was so lucky, I swear to God, because if she hadn't done that, I'd have been fucked. But yeah, she was lovely. Couldn't find a nicer lady. So basically she was supposed to start in June. So I cried a lot for the first week, then had a business meeting with my uncle, and he very kindly sort of helped me. We made an Excel spreadsheet, and we basically worked out, with a bit of help from the bank and doing certain things, that basically I would survive the lockdown as long as I followed the plan and my business built up to certain numbers following that in the next 6 months. So I was like, cool, wasn't worried anymore, not gonna lie, enjoyed the break because I needed it. Came back about June the 8th, came back to work, and basically I was like, cool, things are going to start building again. My employee started the week after. She was lovely. Everything was going brilliantly. It was quiet, but it was slowly starting to build. And then it kind of just hit like a plateau, and we just stopped getting as many referrals, and people were cancelling left, right and centre with colds, flus. People were paranoid. People didn't want to come out. It was just a nightmare, and you can't force people to come in. And at the end of the day, as I said before, like, I would always respect people's beliefs. Never, ever, ever would I make somebody feel uncomfortable. It's not what I would do, regardless of what my beliefs are. I would never do that. And like I said, I was not shutting my business or not working because of fear of lockdown. The work just wasn't there. I couldn't force people to come in, and the insurance companies were extremely strict. They were like, must be virtual first, all these protocols, all these papers. It was just a nightmare. And some of these are a bulk of my work, and the referrals are just like, and I'm just like, I've got a new clinic that hasn't even built up yet, and I'm spending all this money, not bringing enough money in. This is crazy. And it just got to a point after a while. And again, even though I wasn't working as many hours as I was before lockdown, I was so unhappy. I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I was crying a lot. Like, I couldn't even stand going and doing half a day. And I'm like, this is crazy. Like, I started to feel sick again. I was like, I just don't want to do this anymore. And I was too scared to tell people, because I didn't want them to feel like I'd let them down, even though they've been like supporting me so much. And I think, to be honest with you, I know for a fact my family never would be like that. They'd support me whatever I decided, but I think it was more the pressure on myself. I didn't want to let myself down. I think it was a pride thing as well. And I've worked so fucking hard, like I've sacrificed so much and I'm losing everything. Like I'm like, this is just crazy. I literally feel like someone's just tipped my life upside down, because that was literally like my baby. It was my everything. I did it day in, day out. Like, it's crazy to do that for 3 years and work that hard and get to a certain point and just lose everything and think like, fuck, like I've literally got to change my whole plan, like a whole 360. It was crazy, but I was crying a lot at the same time. So I was like, this is kind of like a happy but sad moment. I don't really know how to feel. I was slightly like relieved, but then shitting my pants at the same time. And I remember praying to God. This is about 3-4 days before my uncle scheduled a call with me, and I remember saying, please God, make a decision for me. I don't know what to do. I feel like I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I've got another business plan. I'm currently studying something else at the moment as well. As I said, I'm going to go back to uni soon. I was like, I've got another business plan. There's something else I really want to do. You know, like, please make a decision for me. I don't know what to do. I feel like I just felt like I needed, because in COVID, like normally I'm quite good at making business decisions. I often make things really quickly off instinct. I can make a decision in like 30 seconds. I always try and go off my instincts. They're a real thing. But with COVID, I just felt like it was so unpredictable. Like you just didn't know. And I was just like, obviously since the first one, I was like, I know they're going to plan a second one. And I would just remember like, please, I feel like I need someone just to come in and tell me what to do. Like, I feel like I'm by myself. I don't have a business partner. I just, you know what I mean? Literally 3 days later, my uncle calls me like, yeah, you need to close down your second room. Like, your money's going to run out. It's not going to work. Like, you're going to get yourself in trouble. I was like, shit. Because the referrals just weren't reaching the numbers that we'd panned out on the Excel spreadsheet. So I was like, shit. And I was like, okay, cool. So I was like, but I'm going to keep the first room. So I came off the call, and then I started to think about it, and I was like, I'm paying like way over $1,000 a month for this room, all this money for my employee. I don't want to go back in there and work long days again, because I just don't want to do that to myself. I already decided that was something I was not going to put myself through. Like I said, sometimes you have to put your mental health first and do what's right. And I was like, I'm not going back to doing what I was doing before COVID. I just physically, mentally could not handle that. I do not want to put myself through that type of unhappiness. So I was like, but then I'm paying this lovely lady all this money, but yeah, we're not bringing in, you know? So I was like, I'm going to have to get rid of my employee when I really deeped it. And then I was like, but I don't want to work in the room anymore. I'm going to have to get rid of the room. And I'm just going to have to get rid of the whole room. They were like, you don't want to work in there on your own? I'm like, no. And I actually worked out that even financially, with the amount of outgoings and the way the referrals going and the way people were cancelling, it still wouldn't be worth it. If I was at a later stage down the line in my business, I probably would have survived it. But because of the cash flow issues with the insurance companies taking a while to pay, and the fact that I hadn't grown my second clinic, I'd literally just expanded at the total wrong time. If it had been another year or so down the line, I probably would have survived it. But because of the stage that my business was in, going from like a small to a slightly bigger business, it just wiped me out at the complete wrong stage. But you know what? As crazy as it sounds, I am kind of looking at this as a blessing in disguise. Although I cried for like 2 or 3 days, definitely. I think more of a shock. I was still slightly relieved. I've always said to people, like, yes, you're going to have to do things you don't want to do sometimes. But if you lose the passion for something and you're not really like motivated for something, it's never going to go where you want it to go. And I did feel like I had another calling. I'm very lucky that I've got another business idea that I was already building, probably started about 6-7 months ago, actually longer than that. I've already had another business plan way before COVID started that I wanted to build up anyway, because I knew I wasn't happy. I'm not the type of person that will sit and not be happy and not try and do things about it. I will literally try to do things to change it, because it's crazy to sit there and moan about something and not try to do things to change it. It's like, then don't moan about it. So I was trying to do something. So this is why I'm studying now, and this is why I had this other business idea. So I do have something else that I'm building up now, which I'm hoping is going to work. But obviously, like I said, it's still a risk, because you don't know. I do have some other little online businesses and stuff going that I can make some money on, but it's still a risk because you don't know. And sometimes in life, you got to take these risks. But I think one lesson I've learned from this is, I feel like I put chains on myself. I felt like my soul or my spirit was trapped. That's how I felt when I was in that job, when I was doing that business. Don't put yourself through it. Don't do what I did. Because looking back, I was like, maybe this is a blessing in disguise. Maybe this is the universe, God telling me like, this is the pathway you need to do. And it was weird that I did have a reading after that's literally reiterated this as well, which kind of freaked me out. But I was like, maybe this is the right path for me and this is where I'm meant to be going, because I'm going a lot more into speaking the truth about health, which is where I feel like my passion really lies. And my new qualifications are backing that up. And I think I'm so much more passionate about this area. I'm not giving up physio. I'm still going to be doing some home visits. I'm still going to be doing online stuff, which is part of my new business. It's not like I'm giving it up, but it's given me the leeway to fight the system more in terms of health. It's given me the leeway to be able to do the things that I never had time to properly work on when I was constantly in the clinic. And I'm going to see this as a blessing in disguise. And this is what I'd always say to people. It's fine to feel shit for a bit. You have to sometimes. We're human. Just don't wallow in it for too long. That's where people go wrong, where they stay in that frequency for too long. And I was like, I have to come out of this because I'm going to attract shit. I know that if I'm going to put out this frequency, law of attraction physics wise, that's coming back to me. I need to be on a different frequency to be able to make this new plan work. And sometimes you've got to see one door closing. It's the universe opening another for you. You know, sometimes it's like, I don't know if anyone's ever had it where like one morning they haven't gone out on something, and that exact time on that exact road where you would have been, there was like a major accident. And you were like, rah, imagine I'd actually gone out that morning, but you were pissed off that you didn't, not realizing. Sometimes you don't realize what life's helping you avoid because you don't see it. I don't know if that makes any kind of sense. I hope that makes some kind of sense, but I just feel like maybe this is a blessing in disguise, and the universe does mysterious things sometimes that we don't understand and that maybe we're not supposed to understand. And sometimes you really do have to trust the universe. It's crazy how things can work out. I hope to make another video a year or two down the line being like, yay, either that or I'm going to be in a tent begging for sandwiches and a hot cocoa. So if you see me, let me a sandwich. No, I'm joking. Hopefully that won't happen. Yeah. And I would say, like, I think at the same time, I keep thinking it could be worse. Not that, I always say just because there's people going through worse things in the world doesn't mean that your feelings aren't relevant. But at the same time, I do try to put things in perspective and think, oh, I'm still lucky. And I think that I'm not the only one going through this. There are so many people right now losing their businesses or losing their jobs. Like, we are in this together. I'm definitely not the only one. And yeah, we're all dealing with some hard times right now. It's going to hit all of us. So, you know, this is just my story. I'm sure there is many like this. I'm very sad to see my business go. As I said, I think it was the 31st of October, I completely shut down my business. Really just spat there. I completely shut down my business. And that was my journey, really. So at one point I was like, all them blood, sweat and tears for no reason. But yeah, I was just, yeah. It is what it is. So we move on to a new chapter. There's so many other things I've got coming. As I said, I'm not going to speak too much on them because I'm just going to wait till they come out. I'm going to obviously address it then. But I've got other business ideas and other things that I'm doing, other things that I'm studying, and I'm really excited to get going with that. I'm also still obviously nervous. I'm still scared. But hopefully it's all going to work out. So, you know, sometimes, like I said, you've just got to take a risk and follow your dream. A calculated risk to a certain degree, but you've just sometimes got to do what's best for you in life, even regardless of people judge me. Even if I don't think some people agreed with me completely leaving the clinic. I think some people in my family or whatever probably thought that I should have continued there myself, maybe for a bit or whatever, or that I should be doing more home visits or whatever. But I just knew it wasn't right for me. And like I said, sometimes you have to do what's best for you, even though other people might not agree with it. But at the end of the day, you're the only one that's got to live with the decisions for the rest of your motherfucking life. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you in my next video.